Whenever the topic of AI comes up, the whole conversation seems to split right down the middle. On one side, you've got this incredible hope for what it could do for us, and on the other, there's this really deep fear of what it might turn into. But what if that's the wrong way to look at it? What if it's not about us versus the machine, but about how we can amplify our own intelligence? So let's dive into that vision.
And at the very heart of this different way of thinking is a dream, a really powerful one from Emad Mostaque, the founder of Stability AI. Just imagine for a second, what if every single piece of medical knowledge on the planet was available to every single person? I mean, if a loved one gets diagnosed with something scary like cancer or dementia, you'd have all the information you need right there to help figure it out. Now that's a beautiful dream, right? But it runs headfirst into this wall of anxiety that a lot of us feel. We're constantly hearing about AI taking jobs, or even worse, becoming some kind of existential threat. So the big question is, how do we bridge that gap? How do we get from the fear we have right now to that incredible future we could have?
Well, to really get the solution, we first have to agree on what the problem is that we're trying to solve. And from this perspective, the problem isn't some far-off sci-fi thing. Nope. It's the world we're living in, right here, right now. I mean, think about it for a second. Our systems for healthcare, for education, even for government, they often feel so clunky and just outdated. They're bogged down with all this friction and frustration. Mostock's argument is that they just aren't fit for purpose anymore, and they end up creating these huge bottlenecks for all of the amazing people trying to work inside of them.
And he has this really striking analogy for it. He says it's not the doctors or the teachers who are failing us, it's the systems themselves. He actually calls them a kind of slow, dumb AI that just grinds us all down with how inefficient it is.
So, if our own man-made systems are the dumb AI that's holding us back, what's the fix? Well, this is where a really important distinction comes into play. It's a total shift in thinking, away from that scary story we usually hear.
Okay, on the left, you've got artificial general intelligence, AGI. That's the Terminator, right? That's the self-aware machine that sparks the whole what if it kills us all debate. But on the right, you've got a totally different idea, amplified human intelligence, or AHI. This is the co-pilot. It's a tool designed not to replace how we think, but to make our own thinking better.
So really, what AI is all about is partnership. It's about using this tech to make us better at solving problems, better at creating things, and just better thinkers. It's a tool to augment our abilities, not to automate them away. Okay, that sounds great, a helpful co-pilot. But how do you guarantee it stays helpful? How do you keep it from accidentally veering into that scary territory? Well, the proposed answer is a really powerful one. You make it open. See, open models are the exact opposite of some mysterious black box. You can actually look inside and see how they work. And that transparency, that gives you control. It gives you agency over your own data. It means that literally anyone, you, a company, an entire country, can build and tweak their own AI. I mean, the entire internet we use every single day is built on this exact same idea of open source software. And this quote just nails the philosophy behind it. Think about it. In a world where these tools are going to shape how we think and work more and more, if you don't control the models, do you really control your own mind? So to really get your head around the scale of this whole idea, we need a really concrete example. Let's start thinking of AI not just as a tool, but as this brand new form of knowledge compression. Take the image model Stable Diffusion. It was trained on this almost unimaginable amount of data. We're talking nearly 2 billion images, and all of that took up 100,000 gigabytes of space. But now, here's the magic. After learning from all that, the essence of those 2 billion images, the patterns, the concepts, the styles, it all got distilled down into a file that is just 2 gigabytes. 100,000 gigabytes down to 2. That's not just data compression, that's like knowledge compression. And this ability to compress and share knowledge leads to this incredibly empowering idea. See, this isn't just about making an expert's job a little bit easier. It's about lifting the entire floor for everybody, giving everyone more capabilities, making all of us more creative and more knowledgeable. So where are we at on this journey? Well, right now, today's models are kind of like eager grads. They're super talented, but they still need some guidance. But as they evolve, they're going to mature into our indispensable co-pilots, becoming these true partners in our work and all our creative projects.
And that right there brings us to the most critical takeaway from all of this. This future we're talking about, it's not just something that's going to happen to us. It's something we can all actually have a hand in building. We are moving past the time when you needed to be a trillion-dollar company to build powerful AI. Intelligence is becoming distributed. It's moving away from giant, centralized data centers and out to the edge, to our laptops, to our phones, right into our hands.
I mean, just look at this timeline. Today, you can run a pretty sophisticated AI model right on your personal laptop. The prediction is that by the end of 2027, you'll have something as powerful as GPT-4 running locally on your phone. And in 5 years, programming itself could fundamentally change, becoming less about writing strict code and more like just having a conversation.
So, when it's all said and done, this is the big takeaway. That whole narrative of fear is being challenged by a vision of empowerment, a vision where AI isn't the end of human ingenuity, but it's like a new kind of printing press that's being handed to all of us. And that leaves us with one last really important question. What will you create?